Shri Gurubhyo Namaha, children. Yesterday we discussed about migration. We discussed what is migration and general objectives of this lesson. What is meant by migration we discussed yesterday. Factors of migration we discussed, and we discussed various reasons for migration and causes of human migration, that is ecological or natural causes, economic causes, socio-cultural causes, political causes. Today we are going to start types of migration. So based on the movement associated with administrative limits, based on the willingness of the migrants, based on the duration of stay of migrants in the place of destination. So these are all the various types of migration today we are going to discuss. First one, administrative limits. Based on the movement administrative limits, we can divide it into internal migration. That is, what is meant by internal migration means the movement of people within a country is known as internal migration. For example, if you are going to migrate from uh, Chennai to Delhi, it is called internal migration internal migration. You are going to migrate within a country. So for example, you can take rural to urban, urban to urban, rural to rural, or urban to rural. So these are all some of the examples of internal migration. So first one, what is meant by rural to urban? So it is the movement of population from rural area to urban areas. Rural to urban areas. Uh, the people may be interested to migrate into growing towns and cities, namely in search of employment, education, and recreation facilities. So these are all the various reasons. For example, if you are going to migrate from your native village to some important towns and cities, it is called rural to urban. Next one, urban to urban. It is the migration between one urban area to other in search of higher income or maybe employment opportunities. And third one, it is from rural to rural. For example, it is driven by fertile land for cultivation and other factors like marriage, etc. And next one, urban to rural migration. So it is the movement from urban centers to rural areas to sometimes to get rid of the urban problems like pollution or a lack of hygiene and sanitation. Due to that reasons also, sometimes people may migrate and return to their native places, maybe after retirement sometimes. To lead a peaceful life also they may migrate. So urban to rural area, some people they will migrate for these reasons. Children, we discussed about what is meant by internal migration. In that we discussed rural to urban. Urban to urban means, for example, you may uh, migrate from Chennai to Bangalore. So that comes under urban to urban. Rural to rural means one village to another village. So urban to rural means you may work in Chennai and in future you may, after retirement, your parents or your grandparents may plan to shift to your native place. So that comes under urban to rural migration. Next one, based on the movement associated with administrative limits, we discussed about internal migration, and the next one is international migration. So if we are going to migrate across the national boundaries, if we are going to cross the national boundaries, it is called international migration. For example, if we are going to migrate from India to some other foreign countries, in search for it may be for employment opportunities, or you may go for your higher education. So such type of migration is called international migration. Next one, based on the willingness of the migrants for migration. So we can divide that into voluntary migration or involuntary or forced migration. So if the migration takes place on person's free will, if the person is willing to shift his residence from one place to another place, he may be going for job opportunities, or he may be willing to increase his financial status. So voluntarily he will be migrating from one place to another place. It is called voluntary migration. And involuntary migration means if the migration takes place against the will of migrants. If the migrant is not interested to move from his native place, but he may be forced because of some natural calamities or war, some exploitation. So involuntarily the migrant will move from his place to other place. Such case it is called involuntary migration. And third one, based on the duration of stay in the place of destination. It is divided into short term migration, long term migration, and seasonal migration. So, short term migration only for a short duration, it may be for a week or for a month, like that. So short term, only for short term the people will move from one place to another place. So that is called short term migration. Long term migration means it is a kind of migration in which they will be residing outside for a few years. For example, if you are going to go for your higher studies to some other country, you are not going to stay permanently there, isn't it? So for certain years you may be staying there for educational purposes. So such type of migration is called long-term migration. And seasonal migration means if you take some people, no, they will be migrating during certain seasons. For example, some people, those who are living in urban areas, no, they will migrate from that place to some hill stations. During certain seasons, they will migrate for 3 months, or for during summer season they may have some house at hill stations like Kodaikanal, Uti. So seasonal migration, again they will come back. So such type of migration is called seasonal migration. So children, we discussed about short term migration, long term migration, and seasonal migration. Next one, we are going to discuss about the consequences of migration, that is demographic consequences and social consequences. First one, demographic consequences. So it changes age and sex composition of population. So migration of females after their marriage leads to decline in sex ratio in the source regions, and increase the sex ratio in the regions where they are going to settle. And the migration of male workers in search of jobs decreases the population in that region, and it will increase in the region where he is going to work. Next one, social consequences. So the migration of people from different regions towards an urban area, it increase the population in that urban area, isn't it? So that also comes under social consequences. Next one, environmental consequences. So in if you take environmental consequences, no, large scale of movement of people from rural to urban areas, it causes overcrowding in cities and heavy pressure on the resources available. So it results in rapid growth of cities. The overpopulation in urban areas leads to the pollution, various pollutions like air, water, and soil also. So there may be scarcity of drinking water, lack of space for housing, traffic congestions, and poor drainage conditions. These are all the various environmental issues in urban areas. So the lack of space for housing and the rising of land cost lead to formation of slums in urban areas. Next one, economic consequences. So the migration of more people from over populated to underpopulated regions, it results in imbalance of the resource. Um, in some areas, no, the regions of over and under population may become the regions of optimum population. Optimum population means it will beyond the level, the capacity, it is beyond the capacity, and migration may influence the occupational structure of the people. Some people, they may not get job opportunities properly. Definitely, there will be a lot of economic problems because of these migrants. Okay, children, today we discussed about various consequences of urban population. Tomorrow we will discuss about urbanization.